Welcome, everyone, to the Will Coca Podcast. Another 5-Minute Friday. Let's get it started. Happy Friday, everybody, and welcome to another 5-Minute Friday. This is a special one. Today would have been my father's 70th birthday. We lost my father about 5 years ago to cancer, and it's been one of the hardest things I've ever gone through. Grief is a tricky thing. It's something that no one ever wants, but it's something that unfortunately we all have to deal with. I think for me, the hardest part about losing my father was we had a lot of tumultuous times. My dad wasn't around for a while, and as a young kid, I really struggled with that. And as a adolescent, I struggled with it even more. And as an adult, it almost defined me. My dad and I never really got to talk a lot about all those feelings, but towards the end of his life, I feel like there was something in me that maybe understood, being a little bit older, how difficult life can be to make the right choices all the time. The last 5 years have been pretty tumultuous, I would say. Grief presents itself in so many different ways. You hear it said sometimes that grief is like an ocean. I would go as far as saying grief is like just water. It will take the shape of whatever vessel you put it in. You wake up upset one day, that's what grief is. You wake up sad, that's what grief will do. You wake up anxious, grief will take that shape as well. For me, it was a battle, and is, that has changed me. I could honestly say that I feel like I've gone through more in the last 5 years than I have in the last 10. And I think sometimes we fool ourselves that it's not supposed to, that grief is something we're supposed to fight every day so that we can maintain who we are. But it doesn't work that way, I don't think. I think it's supposed to change you. I think it's supposed to make you dive into a place of your heart and brain that you don't normally have access to, and that is fucking frightening. So frightening to the point that through my choices of grieving and self-medicating, it ended up leaving me in the hospital. Ironically, in one of the same hospital rooms my father was in, and with one of his nurses that he had. I heard him loud and clear. I felt him loud and clear. And I made a choice that would become my why. Everybody has a why, right? Why do you do the things you do? Why do you push yourself? And that became one of the things that made clear sense to me that this was going to become my why. You know, one of the last things my father said to me before he passed away, I had just started to get back into running, which I completely gave up right after he passed away until last year. But one of the things that he said to me in the end was to keep running, that he would be there with me on the trail. It took me almost 5 years to get back up on those trails and face the reality that my father's gone, that there's nothing I could do to bring him back, and that this moment on the trails is really all I have with him. There's a tree on the trails up on Powell Butte that is on its own. There's no other trees around it. And that is my point that I focus on going up and coming back down, that I take a moment and talk to Dad and think about him. And instead of holding his memory accountable for whatever he did or didn't do, I guess I'm trying just to look forward to count on his memory to keep me going and think about those moments that made me feel full, and those moments that made me feel happy, and the joy he brought to me and my family and others. It's become kind of like a treasure chest now that I visit once in a while, and I pull from it. And it doesn't necessarily pull from me as much as it used to. So happy birthday, Dad, the big 70. I wish you could see everything I've done, but I think you already know. Thanks for tuning in to this special 5-Minute Friday. Hope you guys have a great weekend.